Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
And it does not look like StreamYard got it right because we're starting right with the opening, which is what it's supposed to do. It just showed us. Then it did the opening, and now we're here. So I'm not sure why I have that. They give me that setting if they're just going to stick us on screen before it plays. So
Yeah.
which suddenly explains why there's the tag before Geek Dad Live all the time. Anyway, it all makes sense. Much like Celine Dion said, it's all coming back to me. Why am I married to a 90-year-old man? So,
the nurse gets to take care of him, really. It's pretty easy for Celine.
Well, he's in the cemetery now, so.
Well, sure.
Easier. She's like, I will never marry again. I'm like, yeah, because you were 12 when you met that old man and you were married at 18? Okay, sure. Let's unpack that, Celine. Anyway, let's say hello to the chat. Andrew. Hello, Andrew. I've got bad news for you, Andrew, because next, Mint with Card. Hello, fancy meeting you here. But Black Phoenix, aka Alex, is also here. So it's a twofer, Andrew, because both Alex and James, aka Mint with Card, are members. So you know what that means.
Bring out the alt! Bring out the alt! Bring out the alt!
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Oh, Gal Gadot. She is such a good actress in this clip I just did. All the emotion.
So believable.
So believable. You would believe that she is drinking champagne on a Nile and it's enough to fill it.
Fill the whole Nile.
The whole Nile. Good morning, Ray Black. Lovely to see you. And if we weren't already festive enough, Nolan has made it official. Thank you. Oh, Andrew, you'll be back. You always come back. Yeah. Anyway, and everyone's saying hello to everyone in the chat because it's just like that around here. Everyone's so friendly. I can't even know. All right. So we're coloring Supergirl today. Why? Because there was a really good Supergirl movie that came out. It's not doing great at the box office because apparently a bunch of men are sad that there's a Supergirl. And I think that's it. They're mad because a Supergirl who's existed since the 50s, when she was introduced in the May issue of Action Comics, who is older than all of them. Yeah, apparently it makes them sad. But that's okay because most of them will never touch a boobie that isn't on their own back. So, there you go.
Gee whiz. I wish I could touch a boobie.
Are their looks maxing, which I mean secretly they are same-sex oriented. So, you know. Anyway, now that we've addressed the incels in the room, we're just going to talk Supergirl in color. Yeah, we got everyone. I printed 3 pages for today. Obviously, this one from the anniversary of her debut from the 80s, because Supergirl has been around since 1959, people. This is from the 1959 advertising that there would be a Supergirl. And this is from the mid 2000s-ish. This is Linda Danvers' Supergirl after she lost Matrix, but before they brought back Kara Zor-El. She goes into an alternate world in the Silver Age where she takes the place of Supergirl. So anyway, that's what we picked. And I think I'm going to start with 80s headband Supergirl because that was my era when I was really reading comics. My first Supergirl comic was a copy of Superman Family when she was an actress in New York on a soap opera.
Yeah, I just grabbed the coloring book, like, I'll just grab a picture. It's cool. And now I'm looking at it going, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, and that was sort of where I was. Like, there's a lot in there, but some of it is very detailed. So, like, there's not a lot of. That was sort of what I kept running into. There wasn't a lot, or it would be like a pinup that was too simple. So finally, I settled on the 3 that I picked because each of them had enough story that I could talk about. So, anyway. And yep, everyone's still talking. And let's see. All right, cool. I didn't miss anybody. And I am going to disappear from their screen so that it's just the coloring. And since I don't have the fancy ability Chris does to flip my screen.
I'm going to turn off the blur here so people can actually see it.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, and you've got all your Supergirl figures. That's rad.
I've got a few out, you know. I have picked up quite a few because of all the promotion for the movie.
Yeah. I don't have any of the new movie figures. I've got several from the last. I just haven't unboxed all of my DC stuff yet. That will happen on the 2 weeks that I'm taking off from content creation and live streaming, and I do a bunch of unpacking. I'm gonna hit the Superpowers and DC shelves, which means I've got a bunch of Superpowers toys to open from like the last 3 or 4 years. Finally open my movie Superman Fortress of Solitude. And then I can find all of my Supergirls. Because I have the the Alex Ross one of her in her 70s hot pants with the billowy sleeves, and I have a resin printed custom 80s Supergirl that's Superpowers scale. So anyway.
I have a beef with this page because it's not even Supergirl. This is Superwoman. Come on, people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not even Kristen Wells Superwoman. It's Lucy Lane villain.
Didn't a few people hold that at that point? I can't remember. Was it just
okay, so let's break it down.
Well, in this particular version on the
in that particular version, I think it was just Lucy. And she's got some sort of alien power, and the suit was keeping her corporeal. And then post New 52, when they did, there was convergence, and then everyone came back. And in that case, it was like Lana Lang from a different reality who had been shifted into the main. It was, I don't know. I tried to read it, and other than the great Phil Jimenez art, the rest of it was kind of odd. The first Superwoman was just Lois Lane, as Lois Lane is wont to do. And then after that, there was a while in the 70s where Superwoman was Supergirl in the future after Superman had retired and she had taken over for him. Yes, people, even in the 70s, which were a lot less woke, Supergirl was intended to take over from Superman when he retired to have babies with Lois. And then Kristen Wells, created by Elliot S. Magan, I think that's how you say his last name. Not often you say the writers from the 70s and 80s out loud. He did a novel that was in the movie timeline called Miracle Monday, and he created a character named Kristen Wells who was from like the future, who was a professor who taught about 20th century superheroes. And then he brought her back in a comic book, which officially made her part of the comic continuity, where her and her class are trying to figure out the secret identity of the only unknown secret identity of the 20th century, which was Superwoman. So she goes back in time, puts on a Superwoman costume to go to a Halloween party with Clark Kent, and then realizes she was Superwoman all along.
The whole time.
the whole time. And when they made it into a movie, they had to change it, and you guys know it as Fight Club. Just kidding.
No,
Yeah.
I'm standing by that. That's a fact now.
It's a fact. I need to find my clip that I have of the fact girl from Kids in the Hall and start making random facts. It's a fact.
Speaking of who is Matrix, that is the Supergirl I will be coloring today.
I love Matrix. That was such a fun run. Well, it was right when I really got into comics post-Crisis. Before Crisis, it was Teen Titans, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and Who's Who, and the occasional issue of Crisis and Superpowers. And then after Crisis, I started buying a lot of comics. So I was actually buying Superman comics on purpose. So I followed the whole, like, who is Supergirl storyline. And for a while when she was kind of evil and thought she was Clark. And then she went away into space to figure it out. And she came back as Supergirl and Panic in the Sky. And then the death of Superman. And then and then she dated Lex Luthor, which was weird and gross.
Hey, it was Lex Luthor too, who happened to be a very hunky, full hair-headed clone of Lex Luthor, but we all thought it was his son.
Yeah, but it made him look more like the Lex Luthor of the Pocket Universe, who was technically her dad, because he created her.
Oh, no, okay, that is gross. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, like a bunch of. I think they've reprinted some of them, Alex, as Peter David Supergirl. So yeah, so yeah, Matrix Supergirl, because they killed her in Crisis, and partly why they killed her was Dick Giordano didn't like her. He thought she was redundant. Thanks, Dick. And after Crisis, one thing was there are too many Kryptonians. We can't have 30 Kryptonians anymore. So no Supergirl. And all the Krypton, and that's why Power Girl was Atlantean for a while. Was to so that she could survive and not be killed off. And then John Byrne created the Pocket Universe, which was partly to help explain why there was a Superboy in the 30th century if Clark Kent was never Superboy. And in the Pocket Universe, the Lex Luthor created a protoplasmic being that he called Matrix that thought it was Lana Lang and thought it was Supergirl. And then came to our world to get Superman to go help defeat the Phantom Zone villains of the Pocket Universe. And then they blasted Matrix, and Matrix then reverted to protoplasmic sludge and was the only thing that survived. And then Superman, because he was guilty about killing the 3 Kryptonian villains, brought Matrix back to Mom and Pa Kent and let her be raised there, and they called her May for a while. And she was a protoplasmic mush, humanoid though, and she wore a lot of flannel. And always gave like friend of Melissa Etheridge vibes, the way she looked and was drawn and portrayed in that phase. And she went a little crazy and thought she was Clark Kent / Superman. And then Superman defeated her and she retreated to space and came back as Supergirl. And then she started dating Lex Luthor 2, who was actually Lex Luthor 1, pretending to be his son. But he had cloned himself after dying of kryptonite poisoning because he had that kryptonite ring. And then after she realized he was evil and manipulating her, same girl, same. So origin story of Carl #2. sort of tried to find herself, and she went to rescue this girl named Linda Danvers, who had been kidnapped by a cult. And during the course of that, she and Linda Danvers fused, as well as the Earthbound Angel of Fire. And so Peter David wrote that for, that was a pretty solid run. It made it like, what, 90 issues? And at one point, yeah, it was like 90 issues. And then at one point, Supergirl and Matrix were separated, and Matrix stayed with the Earthbound Angel. But Linda Danvers retained some powers. She was faster than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. She wasn't fully bulletproof, but she basically had all the Golden Age Superman powers. And went on sort of I was trying to find Matrix. And then she found Matrix, and Matrix didn't want to come back. And then they brought back Kara Zor-El from space. And despite being an underage girl, she was naked and up the skirt for a while.
And had abdomen for days.
For days.
All abdomen.
Yeah, if she had been a real teenager, Clark would have told her to go back upstairs and cover up. You're not leaving this house dressed like that. It's a fortress of solitude. You can wait a very long time here, Kira. But also Wonder Woman kidnapped her for a bit and made her go train with the Amazons, which of course didn't help with the clothing part of the equation. Because the Amazons don't, at that point, as drawn by Michael Turner, definitely don't wear a lot of clothes. Funny how that works.
Turner was all over that Supergirl.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's a page in this book, I think, of up the skirt Supergirl. And I was just like, I don't think I'll ever color that one, guys.
But hilariously, again, if you're talking abs, my God.
Oh, yeah.
It was towards the back. I saw it. I giggled. Here it is. For those wondering. All abdomen.
That was the interesting fate. That's Amy Reeder Hadley, though, I think. That
is it?
Yeah, and she did get, that was just the costume she was with, but she at least drew her more,
teenage girly.
Yeah, she's got that sort of lean, lanky. I think that's Hadley. It was during the Hadley phase where, like, they were trying to make her look less sexual and more like a 16-year-old girl. Like, they're like, hey, wait, maybe not so much. So it was the age of, everyone's like, Britney Spears is a teenager. It's like, Britney Spears has a lot of problems, guys. It doesn't mean Supergirl needs to be Britney Spears.
Even though
but what do I know?
Kind of intriguing about a teenage superhero pop star. I just don't think that has to be Supergirl.
Yeah, it shouldn't be Supergirl. That's not ever been. It gives the whole, like, let's make this needlessly edgy to appeal to the kids. And so that when grown men buy Supergirl comics, they can be like, yeah, but it's not like you think. She's really edgy now.
She's been through stuff.
She's been through stuff. Just like me, her dad went away and never came back. Except her dad got blown up in Krypton, and my dad just decided he didn't want to be with me or my mom anymore because I'm terrible. Anyway. If you're watching Carl number 3, yeah, you know. Your dad left because you were terrible. I left because you were terrible. Everyone leaves you because you're terrible. I hope you're having the day you deserve. No, Carl number 3 hasn't found this channel yet. Oh, the day he does. And we'll get a bunch of angry messages. Oh my God. why did you pick Carl for the name? That's my name. It's like, you were so awful that every old ex-boyfriend who's terrible, even the 4 who weren't named Carl, get to be Carl now. Anyway. I shouldn't invoke Carl that way. But yeah, so the Matrix Supergirl was, and it was also sort of, like Kara Zor-El pre-crisis Supergirl was there, and like, but those were also sort of this. It's kind of like with Kyle Rayner, like where it's like I really like Kyle because that was like that was our like Green Lantern. He wasn't like inherited. And that's kind of what I really liked about Matrix Supergirl was we were there for like her debut and like for all of her adventures and her story, and it wasn't sort of like with your again, I love all incarnations of Supergirl. But there's something, different about going to back issues and having to discover a character as opposed to being there as the history and the continuity is made. So and it was kind of really cool to be around for. Of course, then Dan Dildo wiped all of that out and said that nobody could use Matrix or Linda Danvers. We need a more iconic Supergirl now. It's okay that Superman has a dog and there are 30 Kryptonians. It doesn't water it down at all.
Yeah, well, he kept trying to kill Dick Grayson, so, what does he know?
Yeah, and he ironically, he screwed up Donna Troy way more than Crisis ever did. Yeah, he screwed over all of the Titan, like Wally West. It was under his tenure that Speedy / Arsenal / Roy Harper got his arm ripped off. Edgy.
Oh, that story was terrible.
That was such a terrible, terrible, terrible story. I'm sure something happened to Tempest. So he just, in general, he killed off Duella. Let them murder Duella Dent and count down to Final Crisis. Yeah, that's right. It was Countdown to Final Crisis. Or was it Infinite Crisis?
Well,
Those
no,
two.
Countdown was to Infinite was the death of Ted Cord.
That's right. It was the one afterwards where like, yes. Okay. It's just is all sort of a blur because Donna Troy was killed and then brought back right before Infinite Crisis. And retroactively was counted as part of Countdown to Infinite Crisis, but she was in fact, and she was a whole part of the Countdown to Final Crisis. That was such a disappointing weekly series, especially because the weekly 52 comic was so good. That was like such a good
52 screwed up the idea of what we should get out of a weekly comic.
It did. It's such a good comic. Like I remember looking forward to every issue of that. And then Countdown to Final Crisis was just such a mess.
Final Crisis was a mess.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, Final Crisis happened right in the middle of Blackest Night.
Right.
And then as soon as it ended, we were in Flashpoint. It's like there's years of like constant and then New 52 sucked. I stand by that. somebody who like read everything. There were a few bright spots, but none of it was the superhero stuff. Oh, this is a good coloring book to have. I like it. Yeah, there's only the collection. I think I for some reason thought they were doing an omnibus maybe after he passed, but maybe it's not been released yet or it's not finalized or whatever. Prior to his death, they had only done the first like 8 to 12 issues. And then they did the final arc where Many Happy Returns that sort of set up the return of the Silver Age version of Supergirl. But I don't know if it's out. I remember saying that they were going to do more Peter David Supergirl and like some some omnibuses after he passed, which is very DC because obviously royalties are a lot different when someone's no longer with you. Oh, DC. I long for the days of Jeanette Kwan because Jeanette got, like, if you pay your people well, you give them sort of royalties and you give them creator rights. They're going to do some, except for Alan Moore, but we all know that he's a sad old, like, wizard.
He's screaming in a cave somewhere right now.
Somewhere right. I just accidentally invoked him. He has woken up and he's screaming about Watchmen. You know, he'll never get the rights back, but he just keeps getting these checks for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I mean, like, I sort of get the principle of it. Like, oh, well, it's never going to go out of print. It's like, sir, you have made way more money off of Watchmen because it's never gone out of print and because DC pushes it than you would have if you had gotten this back. Because if you had gotten it back, nobody would care, Alan Moore. It's the Alan Moore paradox. If the rights had reverted, he wouldn't be able to do anything with it because nobody would care. And then he would whine that none of us appreciate his genius. Oh, Alan Moore. So chaotic.
You know, and a lot of the Watchmen spin-off stuff has not been good, but that HBO TV series was phenomenal.
That was that's the best Watchmen thing other than the original comic series. That is like how you take a property and build a proper like follow-up to it, because it really wasn't Watchmen Part 2. Like, yeah, some of those characters are there, but it really explored the world that would have resulted from the first Watchmen, right? But also just, and it boggles my mind still that that's how I found out about the Tulsa, Oklahoma
massacre.
Yeah, the massacre on Black Wall Street. Like, I had never heard. I went and looked. I thought it was fictional until I watched.
Same. And I'm embarrassed as a human being.
I was super embarrassed and super angry that like we never learned about that, and that it took a really good. it took what are we calling it now? Like
alternate history.
It took an alternate history, like prestige TV show, for me to learn about this really significant event in American history. Like, it was just disappointing that that's how I learned about it. But if I'm gonna have to learn about it through TV, at least it was that, and like not an episode of like Survivor or whatever. Today on Survivor, we're gonna have a challenge where you have to survive the bombing of Oklahoma City.
Today
and the winning team gets the winning team gets immunity. No, but
I was just gonna say it's not even like that extreme. It's just like you have to deal with actual history.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Can you survive it? Or would you cry to the Facebook comment section?
Well, yeah, exactly. James, this is a great point. It is now referred to in some places as the Tulsa race riots. There were no race riots. It was an attack. Like they bombed. There was no riot. Like they went in and bombed the city. But Texas gonna Texas, and do not miss my home state at times like this. And so, yeah, that's completely. It's very on brand that they would misrepresent facts. Anyway, enough of that. Anyway, the Watchmen TV show is really good, and it's how like you do a follow-up. And I'm sure that makes Alan Moore really mad because it was just such a good show. Like, and it was also that thing when it was like they kind of set it up so there could have been a second sequel. And then when the creator was like, yeah, you know what? Even though we sort of set that up, I don't think we have anything left to say that needs another season. Like, I was like, that's really cool. Like, it's that thing where it's like, I'm sad there will be no more Watchmen TV show, but I'm also really glad that, like, the guy was just like, you know, we're never going to top this. And now just hopefully in like 15 years, somebody else comes along and does some Watchmen thing that takes, again, that same concept and just really, you know, like, where's the world of Watchmen 10 years after the TV show? And then gives us a fresh, unique, realistic story. Like, it was just so good. And, like, it felt so clever in the right way. Like I often can figure out, like, where movies and TV shows are going. Like, and I will figure it out, like, in the first 2 or 3 episodes. I never had any sense with Watchmen where it was going to end up. Like,
well, even the end, it's just like, what happened?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Right. No, it was really good. But speaking of good, I really liked Supergirl.
I did too. Okay. I really liked it. To me, I wouldn't say it was the best thing I've ever seen, but I really enjoyed the movie.
I really liked it's not the best thing I've ever seen either. Like, nobody's saying that. Well, I mean, there's some people who are trying to say that y'all are saying this is the best thing, best movie ever made. It's like, sir, nobody said that. Shut up.
It doesn't deserve the hate, though.
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Superman versus Batman.
Well, that's easy.
I enjoyed it more than anything that has Ben Affleck as Batman in it. I don't care what anyone says, Ben Affleck is the worst Batman. I know everyone's like, but what about Clooney? I'm like, I'm aware of Clooney. I went and saw that at the theater 4 times, people, for Clooney. So don't come at me. Clooney is a good Batman in a bad Batman movie. But I will say, as somebody who rewatched Batman and Robin last year, twice on purpose, it has its cheesy, campy appeal to it now that we're almost 30 years removed from the moment. So I keep wanting to order the I used to have them, and it was one of the things lost in the flash flood where one of my storage facilities in Texas used to be. But I had the Poison Ivy and Batman doll from that movie.
Oh, nice.
So at some point I need to reorder that. I did one of my treats. I made a little bit of money from YouTube. So they sent me a check because you have to get to $100 before YouTube sends you any money. And after many, many months of not making it, I finally hit it. And I put it into art supplies because, you know, the main thing I do with any money I make from the channel or from like an Amazon affiliate or anything like that is put it back into art supplies. After I bought some art supplies that have been on the list for a really long time, there was like $30 left. So I bought the 1997 Hasbro 12-inch Batgirl doll, which is something I always wanted back in 1997, but it was a service merchandise exclusive. And it dropped right as I was moving from Louisiana to Texas, so it was a little bit out of my price range. Especially because it was either that or the large size Princess Leia Hoth from service merchandise, and we all know there's no contest there.
No, you'd be a fool to bet against Leia.
Yeah, especially me. But I ordered it. It should be here sometime next week. But that was fun because I was like, this is something I actually always wanted, never had. It doesn't happen a lot with 90s stuff. Especially as I've finally been unboxing. There's stuff I've unboxed that I've been carrying since the 90s. You know, an opening pack, like the video that dropped Saturday, I opened a bunch of the Wildcats by Jim Lee figures. All three of the ladies, Voodoo, Void, and then the lady in red, whatever her name is. I've had those since like the late 90s.
Was it Zealot?
I think that's her name, Zealot. It was really fun to open them. It was really fun to look at 90s figures and be like, we thought these were the best figures ever made. And it's really funny because those are all from the same toy line and they're all three radically out of scale with each other. And it was Playmate, so like it was like none of them are actually in scale with each other. Like they don't even look like they were sculpted by, you know, the same team. Like it's just really funny, like looking at them, but it's like back in the day, we thought these were the best. They're so accurate to the comics. But yeah, it's been fun to open those. So I haven't decided if I'm going to open the Batgirl or not. I may need to repurchase because I lost it, the Poison Ivy and Batman. Which then means I might need to get a 12-inch
Robin
from Batman and Robin. Which then, of course, means I probably need to get the 12-inch Mr. Freeze so that I can just have all of them.
I mean, can you really chill with only, like, the majority?
Yeah, right? What am I saying? What is it saying if I don't, like, how ableist is it of me to leave out Mr. Freeze, who has like this disease where he's partially frozen? Like, it's pretty rude. So they're all really inexpensive as well, except for the Poison Ivy Batman 2-pack. I'm gonna have to budget for that if I decide to do it, because it's anywhere from like $70 to $150 to get it mint in box. But you know, like I budget for those big things and plan them out. So it's just that Batgirl was like with shipping like just under $30, and I'm like, that's a really good price. You know, it's basically retail. It was like $24.99. It's cheaper than retail because it was $24.99 at service merchandise back in the day. So I'm getting it $5 cheaper, except for shipping, of course. All right, let's see. It's looking good. Got my background mostly done. Oh, that's a great pick. I almost picked that one. But I recently did the cover of the Supergirl movie special as a short, and it's really close to that. City line, Supergirl flying. I wanted to try to do something a little different. At some point, though, I'll probably do that one as a short. Because it is a great... That's, I think, the first issue of her 4-issue miniseries from the...
This was actually...
Thor.
This is actually the first... this is the cover to the first image of her regular series coming out of the Reign of the Superman.
Okay.
I only know that because I pulled it up as reference.
Yeah, that's the one where she discovers Lex is making clones of her. Oh, Lex.
I mean, clones were all the rage at the time.
It's true. They had when he was using the same technology they had used to make Superboy, so
Who, thanks to retcons, he himself is a partial clone of Lex.
it's true. Oh man, that was such a weird retcon.
I stand by the weirdest decision though was the origin of New 52 Superboy. Who thought that was a good idea?
Probably Dandy a dildo.
He's the clone of the future son of Lois and Clark.
Yeah, like it was very much how edgy can we make it? But it's just like Cassie Sandsmark, Wonder Girl was super edgy at that point. She stole this lariat that kills her a little bit every time she uses it. She has all this crazy war armor. Spikes. It's the 90s.
But you know, the not armor version of that costume didn't look bad.
That's true. But it was just when it was armored up, it looked really bad.
Well, yeah, that was the whole of New 52 comic costuming. It was like, oh, this looks pretty good. Oh, you went too far.
Yeah. I remember when they were going to give Wonder Woman pants. It's like, no, we're not going to do that.
Oh, see, I liked the pants. At least, maybe when it was cold.
I know a lot of people like that she's got like the skirt thing. It's like, y'all, it's Wonder Woman. She needs star-spangled underwear on the outside. I don't care if you make it armored like Perez did, where it was all metal. Because it was armor. And I watched a TikTok video where somebody was like, well, with this costume, it averts the male gaze. And I'm like, like, some dudes are just going to be skeezy. Like, let's not change stuff to avert a gaze when it's like those dudes should just not be doing that. I'm not saying that that's why they changed. DC Comics changed it because that's very un-DC-like to be like, oh, this might make people sad in a way that doesn't, sell more comics.
Who will think of the comics?
I've just never been a fan of the whole idea of like, well, let's modify it so it's less of this thing. It's like Wonder Woman is just iconic. Like, yeah, and in the comics it's true, but it's like most of the merchandise still has her with the underwear. People are like, she's got star-spangled panties. Shut up. Like it's that whole mentality where it's like, so what? Like, it's not like anything's hanging out unless it's Diodato drawing it and it's the 90s. But even Diodato, he recently on his online thing showed a commission he did of Wonder Woman and Artemis, both in the Wonder Woman costume, and like he's like, look, they're even more covered up now. The 90s are dead, guys. So even he gets it. But I don't know. I like Superman's, like shorts on the outside of his costume. Like I think it looks fine. A lot of it just smacks of like we need to make comic books. I hate to say this, but like let's make it less cringe. It's like it just needs to be cringe. Just let comic books be comic books. Like the comic book doesn't need to. I get for a movie it has to be functional and it has to make sense, and like nobody wants Gal Gadot's cookie hanging out. Well, some people want her cookie hanging out, but I get it. Like for live action, things need to be modified, but like the comics don't need to be modified that way. It's like the Supergirl movie costume I thought was a really good translation of a comic book costume.
I agree. I just liked Millie all the way around. I think it's
Oh
great.
yeah, like I thought she was really good in the role. Like I think it was good casting. Like yeah, all the people who were like, we need Sydney Sweeney. It's like that's a different character, people.
Yeah, no, that's the parody.
Right.
What that is.
Sydney Sweeney would make a great dumb bunny from the Inferior Five, I think. Or like the original Silver Swan. Like there are characters in DC Sydney Sweeney would be good for, but it ain't Supergirl. I mean, like Helen Slater was the perfect OG Supergirl. Like, and I felt like Millie had like that same quality where it's like it's that fine line between you kind of do want Supergirl to be pretty, as ableist as that might sound, like conventionally attractive. I don't understand why people were like, she's so ugly. It's like, since when? You guys are the same people who were building her up when she was on House of Dragons. Like, it's so weird how they flipped the script on that one. Or suddenly she's ugly and weird, and it's like, you didn't think that before when she was on the sequel to Dragon Tits. But what do I know? I don't even watch that show. So. Oh. Hello, Quentin. Lovely to see you today. Let's see, where are we? Oh, I have missed people because we got into that thing. Hello, cute cult. Welcome. Gen 13. I think there was one Gen 13 figure, I think.
I think it was just Fairchild.
Yeah, there was a Fairchild. And it feels like her legs were weird. Like they were too many legs. Or too long or some such. Yeah, New 52 would have been great if they're like, hey, here's a new alternate world and it's the New 52. And like they had that as a separate continuity, and did like a year of stories. And then every year you could do the crossover with like the regular DC. But no. It's not my favorite look. I would like a figure of that look, though. I think with Wonder Woman, I mean, the one thing is, too, with the black biker shorts, we always knew that was temporary as part of the story, so it didn't bother me. It was, it's a little bit different, like back in the 70s when Wonder Woman lost her powers and she was Maude, and she was Diana Prince traveling like Emma Pill from the Avengers, fighting crime with her mentor in the martial arts, the blind Chinese man named I Ching, or I Ching, depending on your pronunciation.
Neil Adams has apologized profusely for that whole ordeal.
Yeah. Well, that's partly, that was more Denny O'Neil than anyone.
Yeah, well,
and
sure.
He did. I went and saw Denny O'Neil like the last Comic-Con before lockdown, and went to a panel, and he talked about, yeah, we handled that all wrong. He didn't necessarily say that they shouldn't have taken her, because it was a thing where that happened because DC was going to, like at the time, they didn't own Wonder Woman outright. And if Wonder Woman went out of print, she had to have like 10 issues, at least 10 inch, I think 8 to 10 issues printed a year. And if they didn't have a title called Wonder Woman in print with Diana in it, they would lose the rights. And even then, back in the 60s, even if when the comic wasn't selling well, merchandise on Wonder Woman was great. Like merchandising wise, they always realized she was potent in that capacity. And so that was why they depowered. He did say that part would have been handled differently, and there are different ways they could have built it so that it wasn't quite so bad. But to me, it has a charm. But I also, read that in back issues in the 80s and 90s. So when you know in retrospect it's a temporary story, it becomes a story arc rather than like at the time in like 1969, 1970, if you were reading that off the newsstand, it's like this is just Wonder Woman now. So, that's different than when oh, well, this is like 20 to 24 issues of a story arc. Like it just plays different. And that's for me why the biker short era of Wonder Woman was fine, because I knew at some point Artemis is going to die, and then Wonder Woman will be Wonder Woman again, and she'll go back to like the licensing costume. And this is a fun story, and it's a fun way for Diana to get a story that's not quite like previous Diana stories. Even though she did previously lose the title of Wonder Woman in 1979 to a redheaded, angry Amazon named Orana, who then gets herself killed. So Diana has to become Wonder Woman again. But yeah, so. Oh, that's the one I just used. What am I looking for? Yeah, no, I liked the bicycle shorts as sort of like a temporary placeholder while Diana figured something. I did not like the wig. It was later like, yeah, it was a wig the whole time. Because John Byrne wanted to like explain why one issue she had like the like short little bob with bangs. And then a month later she has her hair is back. It's like she's got superpowers, John Byrne. Her hair could grow really fast for all we know. Nobody was wondering why her hair was suddenly. It's a comic book. We know this. But oh. Let's see. And Quentin Rom says, hello, Chris Plastic.
Well, hello, Quentin.
I could maybe see Sydney Sweeney as Power Girl. Like that one would work a little bit more. Power Girl just should be older than Supergirl though. So, but of course, Sydney Sweeney is getting older. So I mean, like I wouldn't say that's a bad choice. I mean, if they had picked Sydney Sweeney as Supergirl, I would have been like, ew. My understanding is Uncle Todd and Jim Lee are not friendly anymore. So I could be wrong. I could have misheard that. Yeah, it's weird. Well, for New 52, they briefly brought some of those Wildstorm characters were part of DC and New 52, and then they forgot about it. I am not. The only thing that might happen is it's still up in the air as to whether or not I'm going to go to San Diego for the toy Geek Dad Life sort of event. That's going to depend on a few components of my life this week, but otherwise that's the only sort of convention, and not even the convention itself, just that event. But otherwise, no traveling from me this year for nerd stuff. Next year, it's just we're sort of wrapping up the last of the home improvement things that needed to happen, and I'm still paying down some of my old debt that has been piled high. I would pay more of it if I were buying fewer toys.
Stupid toys.
Stupid toys. Every time I'm like, I could just pay this thing off now. I'm like, ooh, but I really need money for when, because I'm going to order superpowers through Entertainment Earth. Masters of the Universe is about to do a drop. But it's not the same as going into debt for toys, so there's at least that. But yeah, next year I'll be able to do some traveling. And maybe if I can get all my ducks in a row. I couldn't imagine ever. I mean, Joe Fest is in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But it's too hot in Georgia. But there's some stuff that I might do. Like if PowerCon is back in Ohio next year, like I might go to that. PowerCon would be fun. And then if they do Motooniverse again next year, I might go to that. So, but that would be in LA, so that I can. That's sort of a day trip because I could drive down, stay with friends, go to the Manson family spots that I like in LA, do my dark tourism. Which reminds me, I need to go to San Francisco this year and visit some Zodiac killer sites. It's been too long. You go see Brick and Kayla and Mark.
I was gonna say there's some wonderful people in that part of the world.
Michael from Toy Habits. So I might do San Francisco this year. Well, Bay Area, but that wouldn't be precisely toy related. Inadvertently, it would become so when I line up with everyone, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's a difficult thing. Yeah, right. Newark, Ohio is, yeah. Yeah, this year for travel, like I'm trying to avoid anything in the air that leaves the West Coast. Because it seems like air travel longer than that isn't particularly. All those airports seem really sketchy these days. So.
Yeah, I'm heading Florida way in November,
Oh,
so I'm hoping it's gonna be halfway okay.
yeah, hopefully by then it'll improve some. I'm hoping some of this is just speed bumps as things sort of try to get sorted out. Like it hasn't been as bad the last sort of month or two as it was at one point where it was just like everyone I knew who was traveling was getting stranded in airports for hours upon hours. Outside of like flights to LA and to New York City, like one of the hubs in New York. Like I had a friend who lives in North Carolina who was flying home to Louisiana to visit her family for the anniversary of her mother's passing. And she had a layover in Dallas, and her layover in Dallas ended up being almost 2 days because of plane overcrowding and some technical issues, and none of it was even like say weather, like it's too many storms or it's this, or it was literally like staffing issues. And
Well, at least my flight outside of like the pedal jumper to a major airport is
yeah,
direct.
good. Those usually seem to be fine. So when you start having to do connections, and usually those little tiny pebble jumper planes, the little regional airports, those tend to be okay. So, we have a couple regional airports not far. They could all get me to the Bay Area where I'm like, I might do that instead of driving down. Because the cost of gas is just cheaper, I think, to do an Uber. And then I don't have to drive in San Francisco Bay Area. I'm sure the Uber driver will be fine when I'm like, we're going to Vallejo to see this. I'm sure he'll be fine. But even that, I could rent a car for a day to do all the out of the city Zodiac stuff. So it'll be cheaper to rent a car for like a day than to drive down and put gas into a car. So yeah, I wish it was that easy, James. Like, there are times where I'm like, but I need car insurance. I need the internet. It's easier when it's like old debt I'm trying to pay off from my reckless, poor days. But I'm really close to having everything paid off, so I should by the end of this year be out from under all of it. That has been, some of it's like 15 years old at this point. Sort of, get into the habit when you're super poor of paying those minimums, and it just piles up. So no more. This whole era where the Parasite was pink.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting. That was when DC was really sort of starting in the 60s. And DC got into this mindset where it's like villain should be like purple and green or like some shade of pink. And like even for a while there, Catwoman was like it was like her TV outfit, sort of that black catsuit, but she was colored green. Like every Batman villain for a while was like green and purple. And then like Luthor, of course, green and purple. Parasite is often green, but for whatever reason in this era, he got a remake and suddenly he's pink. Like, or more precisely, magenta. I mean, some of that too, I'm sure, is like the printing process for comic books. The same reason the Hulk was green instead of gray was because it was easier to print it that way. Like, how many of the superhero costumes, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc., are the colors they are because it was the cheapest, easiest way to get it printed, as opposed to like an actual aesthetic choice. Oh, you even did like a sunset in the background. Nice job, Chris.
Yeah.
Fancy on me. That's from the you're using the cover as the guide, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's how you start figuring that stuff out. I still use sometimes, if it's a comic cover, I will still often use the original cover as a guide when I'm doing it. Like the short I dropped today was Sensation Comics #1, and I did use the original cover as a guide, but it also had a lot of white in it, so I mixed it up a little, but I did use it as a guide.
I honestly, when I opened this page and went, this is it, I was like, it's probably a nice blue sky day in Metropolis. It was not.
It was not.
Sometimes I kind of wonder about the residents of these cities. Like, oh, you know what? Metropolis is great. I mean, sure, there's the alien attacks, but
Right. Right. Yeah, it's funny because where I grew up, hurricanes, right?
yeah.
And pretty much after the last bad hurricane, people left and did not move back. And plus the insurance got to be too much. So you really do have to sort of wonder you know, how much does home insurance cost in Metropolis? And
Well, that was the original concept of the show Powerless that was going to be on NBC. It
yeah,
was on NBC, but changed concepts. But insurance would have been funny. Just, because like the one clip they put out was, oh, your home was destroyed by Wonder Woman? Sorry, that's an act of God, because she is a god.
yeah, it's true. She was at the time the goddess of truth. Thanks, John Byrne. His run of Wonder Woman was super frustrating. It's like there were some good concepts and some ideas, but he just is not very good at executing stuff. I don't know if it's like that for his other stuff. I don't remember it, but She-Hulk was so meta that like I should reread his She-Hulk run to see what that looks like. Because I remember it being one of my favorite things back in the day, but I bet it's not as good as I remember it being. It's like that Chinese chicken salad at Applebee's. It's never as good as I remember it. And so then I turn into that person at the restaurant when it arrives. I take 2 bites. I'm like, this just isn't as good as it used to be.
Unfortunately, our Applebee's is now a horse betting place, so don't have that
what?
problem. Horse betting.
Oh my.
Yeah. Two primary businesses in this place is horse betting and vapes, it seems like.
There you are. Well, nothing says 2026 quite like that. All right, let's see. There we go.
The economy is back, people.
Oh, yes. This economy is so good. Oh my God.
So we keep dancing around the Supergirl movie.
Yeah, it's true.
What do you think of the needle drop in the final confrontation?
I was okay with it. Like, I don't know. I don't. It's weird. And it's funny you mention it as sort of, you refer to it as like the needle drop, because it felt a little anticlimactic to me. Like it felt like it could have been bigger somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I just didn't like the song choice.
Well, I think that's kind of what it was. Like it felt like it took away from it. Like here are the things that I didn't like about, and we'll get to the. I felt like it felt like Lobo was sort of shoehorned in. It didn't feel like he actually meshed with the rest of the story for me. It felt like, oh, we're building a big giant universe. Look, Lobo. I also found him distracting because I'm like, that's Aquaman. I don't feel like they really transformed Jason Momoa enough as Lobo. So I could have lived without the Lobo stuff. And again, like and this is sort of my feedback for anyone making superhero movies now. I don't care that you're trying to build a big interconnected universe. I need the movie to be its own thing. I feel like the Superman movie last year did a much better job as far as its sort of multi-movie, multi-project building. It felt a lot more subtle to me, and it felt like it all worked in story, whereas Lobo felt like, look guys, here's Lobo. You love Lobo. I bet if he gets positive reaction, we'll do a Lobo movie. I bet you guys would love a Lobo movie. And I just, and I also felt like there was too much Superman. I felt like Superman should have been used a lot less. And there were a few scenes like with the, sort of like you say, the needle drop, where it's like it just felt like the music took away from it and sort of stole the moment. It was very, and I hate saying this because I almost sound like some of those people, but it felt too Guardians of the Galaxy. Because there are a lot of moments like that where suddenly the music kicks in and it gets compelling. But I don't think that's Supergirl. And I think that's important. Like, I think, these characters do have their own personality. They've been around for decades. You can come in and, like, the Tom King story that this is from is one of the few Tom King things I've read that I enjoy. But it's still, even though it's a Tom King story, and he's got a way, it still feels like a Supergirl story. And the movie felt, a lot of it was a Supergirl movie, but there were a few places where it felt like they were trying to Guardians of the Galaxy it. And I need Supergirl to be Supergirl. This is my complaint about Snyderverse Superman, is like, he's too grim, he's too gritty, he's too angsty. It's like, that's Batman, guys. Superman is bright and shiny. And it felt like there were a few times where they were trying to make Supergirl a little too angsty and a little too Guardians of the Galaxy. And otherwise, even despite those things, I liked this movie. It's probably the best superhero movie I've seen since Superman last year. And I'm really kind of bummed it's not doing better, because there are a lot of superhero movies and they did really well and were much worse movies, and people act like they were really good. So that's my takeaway. That's the Allison Troy hot take on Supergirl the movie.
See, and I thought like the promotional material leaned into it being Guardians of the Galaxy, and I found the actual movie not as much.
Yeah, no, the movie was much less than what the previews looked like. I think,
and I'm glad for that.
Right. I think, and that's part of the problem, I think, with some of the low turnout. You have the Chud element of the whole thing, where it's like, oh my god, they've made Supergirl woke. It's like, bitch, Supergirl has always been woke. Go reread her death scene in Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's the most woke shit you're gonna read, people. And she's getting beat to a pulp trying to save Dr. Light in the universe. She's like, like, the reason she's a hero is like because of bullies and because doing the right thing is hard, but somebody has to do it. And Superman always does the right thing, and she's always tried to live up to his example. And like, I just started tearing up thinking about it. Give me a moment. I'm a little verklempt.
Well, and like even the Melissa Benoist TV show.
Oh God, so woke.
So woke.
So woke.
You have a transgendered superhero.
Yeah, Dream Girl.
Yeah.
Or Dream. I don't think they gave her the Dream Girl in the show, but yeah, you've got Dream Girl. You've got all of the immigration stuff, and that whole show is about immigrants. Call it superhero, like superheroes or whatever. But like, so I don't know. I just, anytime somebody starts complaining that something's woke, I instantly tune them out, because anything they're gonna say afterwards is gonna be like, not actually like legitimate feedback. And so, but yeah, there were those few moments, and I think that is what that commercial, the trailers for it were way more Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think they really need to understand people are definitely tired of the sort of that genre of superhero movie, and it's like they really need to start leaning into not making each movie like that. And Supergirl has its moments where it's completely feels like a Supergirl movie. But there are a couple of those Guardians of the Galaxy moments. And I don't think those need to become a superhero trope where every movie has those. I mean, I'll even say in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3, there were moments where the Guardians of the Galaxy of it all sort of, it felt very tedious to me, I think is, like, I felt exhausted at parts. Like, ugh, do we have to? So I think, I don't know, and I don't think, let me look and see where Supergirl is, because I don't, it's like the Motu movie. People are like, it's not making any money. It's like Motu is doing pretty well overall. Long term, like it's consistently making money. Is it making millions? No, but its fall off has been a lot less. Like it had a lot of repeat business, and it did like 2 or 3 million on Father's Day.
That checks out.
So I think, you know, and I think a lot of the discourse around most movies right now that people are missing is like the economy, guys. Like people are not wanting to go spend, you know, like I went and saw Supergirl and Masters of the, it was the last week of my local theater had Motu. I went and saw Supergirl, and then right after it I went and saw Motu. I got one giant pop. I didn't get no fancy bucket. I got a giant popcorn and a giant drink. And I have one of those. I have the card where it's like you get free refill with the popcorn, and you get a free refill with the drink.
Yeah, it looks like the dailies on Friday had it fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks to exist in a world where you're out at the same time as Toy Story.
Yeah. But like, yeah, Supergirl's at like 100 million. But I don't know if that's US or worldwide or whatever, because the numbers lately are just showing US numbers and not really going with worldwide stuff, which is again awkward. But yeah, but so to go, and it was like my third time seeing the Masters of the Universe. I went to Supergirl on Saturday, then went and saw Motu. Both of them, and this is, you know, early enough that it was cheaper prices. I get a discount on tickets through my movie card. But for the two movies, just for me, because Matt stayed home with, Matt doesn't like going to a theater. So just me by myself for a large popcorn, large drink. I did get a box of Milk Duds. And then 2 movies, one at 11 a.m. and the other was at like 1 p.m.-ish, 2 p.m.
Doing the matinees.
Yeah, I did the matinees, which are cheaper. It was like, I think $10 a piece for the matinee price. I'm not quite old enough for the senior discount yet. It would have made it cheaper when I am in a couple of years. But it was still $50. And that doesn't count the gas to drive there. And I think that's sort of the thing. Like all of these movie companies, you know, Paramount, Warner Bros. I think they're all one company now, but all of these
Just
different
about.
places, they need to sort of stop and take it, you know, and it's like the back rooms, they're like all these independent horror movies are doing big business. It's like, well, one, like you're getting the youth market with those. You know, all these kids who grew up on YouTube watching, you know, these sort of things that are by YouTube creators. You know, they're going there invested in it. But also, it's new, and it's, you know, like Supergirl. I think again, there are a lot of people who didn't go because it looked very Guardians of the Galaxy to people. But also, it's just everything's so expensive, and people are having a hard time, you know, affording stuff. And I think movies aren't escapism at the theater anymore, where it's like once it hits streaming, I think the streaming numbers for Supergirl will be pretty good. It's like Motu is going to clean up once it hits streaming.
Oh yeah.
You know. and there are people who are going to put that on for their kids, and it's just going to play on loop. So, yeah, the economy is terrible. People are not going to go spend as much money on stuff as they would have even last year at this time. Like, it's just a weird time to be trying to release giant blockbuster movies. I think that's a lot of the discourse around, like, oh, well, it failed at theaters for this. It's like, we need to talk about the real reason it's failing at theaters is, like, a lot of stuff is failing at theaters right now because of the economy. And, again, Toy Story is doing great, but Toy Story is also, people are taking the entire family and their 30 kids to go see that.
With that franchise, we now have parents who saw, grandparents who've seen Toy Story 1,
Yeah, like, it's a family event. Like, so it's just, like, the whole family can go see Toy Story. And I think that's, sort of what, we're aware of it, but it's like, I don't think any of the industry trades in the studios themselves want to actually talk about that, because if they do, they have to admit that they've got all these movies that no matter how good they are, people aren't probably going to go see because it's so expensive. So if only they would sort of, I don't know, figure it out. You could shrink a lot of your budgets, a lot of stuff could be cheaper, and then again, people are okay with watching stuff on streaming. Like, you have to, I don't know. It feels like all these companies spent all these years wanting streaming to happen, and now that streaming is happening, they're freaking out. No, we only want to do theatrical. It's like, it's too late. You dumped a bunch of really good stuff on streaming, because you didn't have faith in it, and now, like, you're getting weird because people are just going to start waiting for everything on streaming. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll rebound. Like, regardless, everyone's like, oh, this and that. People still like going to the theater. It's just, there has to be this, like, way to figure it out. And it's like, everyone's like, well, movie prices have always been going up. And it's like, well, yeah, but also no. Like, when the economy's good, people are willing to go spend $50 without cringing like I did, to see a couple movies in a day. And also, some of the theaters now offer those, like, discount cards where you can go and see a bunch of movies a month and just pay a flat rate. But we also don't know how that contributes to a movie's box office. Maybe a lot of people who have that thing went and saw Masters of the Universe, but because they're not paying for a ticket, it doesn't count the same way as, like, somebody buying a ticket would. Like, there's a lot of questions. Like, for instance, I don't know if anyone here reads books and are familiar with Book Talk, but there's been discourse happening on Threads and on Book Talk. Whereas if you're an author and your book is published and it's in one of these specialty book boxes, that doesn't count towards your pre-orders, which is the pre-orders is how the publishers decide whether or not you've sold enough copies to remain employed by them and for them to buy more of your books. So, like, there are authors who sell a lot of books and have a lot of finger quote pre-orders through book boxes, but none of that counts toward the pre-order because it's through this box. So there are people who sell really well through a book box, but don't sell well pre-orders, so they get dropped from their publishing house. And people are just finding out that that's part of how all of that works. So I'm wondering if when you buy one of the, and I'm not saying don't go get one of the movie passes, I'm just saying we don't know how that factors into a box office. I don't even know if my 3 times watching Masters of the Universe counted toward the box office. Because technically I didn't pay for it. Well, 2 of them. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's all that stuff. We don't know what's what with the way those movie cards work. We don't know how much of it is just people can't afford to go see the movie and are waiting. And then there are people who are too lazy to go to a theater because they're tired, because they work, and they're burnt out, so they're not going to theaters. They're waiting for streaming. I don't know. We have to see. Da-da-da. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's always expensive. Yeah, see, your men with cards gonna wait for streaming, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hello, Todsy. Thank you.
Well, and I think some studios are more hip to that than others.
Yeah, John Waters. I go see John Waters almost every year when he goes to Portland for his one-man show. John Waters is great. Like, very insightful. And right now Hollywood won't give him money to make a movie. I bought his book Liar Mouth, which is basically the next movie he wants to make. And Hollywood's like, oh, you know, we're not going to make billions of dollars off of it, so no. Which is just a weird way to approach it. You never know what's going to make $1 billion. I mean, John Waters' Liar Mouth is probably not going to make $1 billion. But you could probably turn a really nice profit, because it's not like he, you know, like there are a lot of actors who will work well below their normal asking price if it's John Waters. Especially as at his age, it would probably be his last movie. There are people who would probably do that for free. Anyway, not to get distracted. Yeah. Oh no. I bet though, James, if John Waters knew your appendix burst at one of his lectures, he would work that into his set, because John Waters likes that sort of thing. It would become part of his lore. I killed someone's appendix one time.
My stand-up, my lecture was so bad that God hit the emergency escape button.
Yeah.
Tried to detonate him to get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I'm someone who really loves movies and loves TV. And I just find a lot of it very uninspiring. Like, I'm tired of event I am one of those people who watched every episode of that stupid Euphoria show. Fully enjoyed it until the last episode, and then I was just like, I'm done. Like, I'm tired of it. And somebody was like, oh, well, the ending is so, like... And I think the word they used that pissed me off the most was like, well, that's how it would really happen in real life. And I'm like, I don't watch TV for fucking real life. Oh, there's my F-bomb for the day. I don't watch movies and TV for real life right now. Like, the economy sucks. The world is kind of on fire. I kind of want to watch a movie and TV to get away from all of that. Like, I don't want pure escape. I'm okay with, like, dramatic stuff, but, like, I don't... When that movie or TV show ends, like, the end, like, the last episode or the last reel or whatever, I want to feel some sort of hope at the end of it. And it just feels like nothing wants to be hopeful anymore, which is what I liked about Supergirl. It was, like, very hopeful. That's what I liked about... That's what I liked about the Masters of the Universe. There was just hope and silliness, and it wasn't taking itself too seriously, but it wanted you to have a good time and leave feeling better. Like, that's what I want right now. That's what I will spend $50 to go see. Yeah, and it's Orson Welles as well. Like, yeah, even for the movies that Orson Welles did that people considered the best, that the studios claim is the best movies ever, didn't make a lot of money for them in the day. And, retroactively, now that he's dead and they can own the stuff outright, Ted Turner.
Hey, Ted's dead.
Yeah, is he dead?
Yeah, I think Ted died.
Huh.
Actually, I can confirm Ted died.
There you go. Well, that's what happens whenever your life is acquiring things and making very little of your own actual product and colorizing a bunch of black and white movies nobody wanted in color. You die and it's sort of, oh, he did? Okay. There you go.
I will say it was a big deal in the pro wrestling world that Ted passed.
Was it? Did he have a wrestling persona?
No, he owned and operated WCW, which was a big deal in the 90s.
Oh, which one is that?
That's where, Hulk Hogan was a bad guy.
Oh. What? Wasn't he always a bad guy?
Well, in reality, yeah.
Okay. I'm just confused. Don't confuse me. No, I thought even in the 80s he was a bad guy.
No, he was the good guy.
Was he?
Well, he was fighting for Reagan's America,
Well, I mean, even if we overlooked, I for some reason thought he was the villain. Was Roddy Piper supposed to be the villain?
Yeah, Rowdy was supposed to be the villain.
He what? Oh. Okay. Huh. Okay. But Roddy only, he was out of bubble gum. Anyway. I didn't really watch wrestling, though. I would watch it sometimes if Cyndi Lauper was on the beginning of it, speaking of which. I might have to buy wrestling toys that aren't Motu wrestling toys. Because there's that Mattel Creations set coming with Masters with Cyndi Lauper in it. And she comes with 2 head sculpts, so I could use one of those for Origins. And still, if Alpha Magnus is still around, I could steal his formula, because he made a Origins Cyndi Lauper a few years back on his channel. It was really cool. I have that saved. I'm so behind on Alpha Magnus videos. Everyone go watch Alpha Magnus videos so that I don't feel as bad about being behind. I went and looked at my queue of things saved later, and I have 472 videos saved to watch later. So, sorry.
I was just going to say, when everybody was really getting into it, YouTubing, the community we built, I tried to watch everything, and boy, there was just no reality that worked out.
Yeah, I keep running. I tried to go in and watch, though, as much as I can. This morning while I was getting set up for today, I caught up on Mint with Card, James's videos. I was like, how did I get 3 behind? But apparently I was 3 behind. By the way, everyone, James will be here, Mint with Card, next weekend, and we're going to color Jabberjaw. Who is my favorite shark other than Jaws?
And thankfully now I have Jabberjaw running through my head. So.
Yes, that's a good quote. If you're on a date with the John Waters quote, Hella Geek, aka Paul Galliano, the most handsomest man in Los Angeles. The John Waters quote is, if you're on a date with someone and you go to their house and they don't own any books, don't fuck them. It's true. There's my second F-bomb for the day. You don't get one, Chris. Sorry.
Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, agreed, Alex. I want the escape. I don't mind that when there's some real life in it. I think the best escapism is stuff that has a little bit of the real world as subtext or like sort of like Masters of the Universe. Like I liked that it started on Earth. It started very grounded. I know there are people who are just, I don't want to see any of Earth. I kind of get that, but at the same time, I liked it because it gave it this grounding before we went to completely over the top action adventures. Cindy is the best. Like my first cassette tape I bought with my own money in 4th grade. It was my report card money for the end of the year. I got straight A's all year. So my parents gave me $20, which in 1984 was a lot of money. Cyndi Lauper cassette. I got the Gremlins magazine that they put out that had all the glossy pictures because I couldn't go see it yet. I got the LJN Gizmo plastic doll and a can of pink spray to make your hair pink, like Cyndi Lauper's. And then probably like some like shoelaces and some like lace gloves because it was 84. So, but yeah, Cyndi Lauper, she was one of my favorites. And back in the day, I liked her more than Madonna, and then I got a little bit older and I liked Madonna more. So, but now, like, Cindy is always Cindy. Yeah, mine is almost 500. Actually, what was helping for a while is when I would film stuff, I would put my playlist on and it would just play through people. And it was easy to get caught up, especially on a day where I was doing like a color and chill video, because some of those take like 8 hours. But now I've been putting audiobooks on during the long filming so that I'm getting more books in my life. So it's like ebb and flow. I'll figure it out. This is an Allison life balance issue. One day I will know all the answers, and then I'll die right after that. And then I will come back as a ghost and tell you all the secrets. I will say if I die and a medium says that they're talking to me on your behalf, if it's Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, she's lying. I would never talk to that heifer. It wouldn't be John Edwards either. Be some weird random person from TikTok. So, just so you all know, it will never be the Long Island medium or John Edwards. I would say never Sylvia Brown, but she's dead, so.
I think I would go with a hack just because, they'd be driven insane by an actual spirit.
Oh, yeah, there's that. But you don't want to actually go with a hack because then when you're actually a real spirit and they are really talking to somebody, they might become even more rich and powerful.
Oh, that's true.
If you're going to help somebody glow up, like help somebody poor and humble. Or that teenage psychic kid who's like on some channel where he's like reading people. It won't be that kid either. The kid creeps me out. Because it's really evident to me he's just making it up. He's cold reading. I mean, good for him for making that money, but I will not work through a medium of that caliber. It's going to be some really weird person who has like 1,000 cats. You're going to be like, is this person drinking cough syrup or are they psychic? And then you'll be like, oh, it must truly be Allison because this is the sign she said. It would be somebody with a lot of cats who it appears they're drinking cough syrup, but really they're having a psychic vision. So. Oh, yeah. No. Desperately Seeking Susan is great. Like, every so often I will go on eBay or Etsy and try to find like a patch like from the back of the jacket in Desperately Seeking Susan or a jacket, and I found at one point somebody who made one and it was like $600. I'm like, that's a little bit much for an 80s members only jacket with a patch on it. But at some point I will find somebody who makes the patch, and then I'll find a cheap members only jacket and make my own with iron. And then I can be cool, like Madonna was in Desperately Seeking Susan. Also, Rosanna Arquette was really good in that one too. That was just a great movie. It's too bad most of her other movies weren't that good. Shanghai Surprise, we're looking at you, kid. Ooh, that was a bad movie. But at least unlike her, we didn't have to marry Sean Penn as part of it. I'm sure he's lovely. Sean Penn, if you're watching, don't punch me in the face.
Look, I still have beef with Sean Penn for winning Best Actor in Mystic River over Bill Murray in Lost in Translation.
Oh, I didn't like either of those movies. I disliked Lost in Translation because I dislike any movie where like a mediocre white man is like being sold as some sort of deep soul. And that's just personal preference. If that's your bag, go for it. But also I'm very particular about Bill Murray. Like Quick Change is one of my favorite movies. Groundhog's Day, What About Bob? Charlie's Angels. And I think that's it. Like those are the 4 movies I like John Belushi, Bill Murray in. So, and I know somebody's about to say Ghostbusters. I do not care for the original Ghostbusters. My favorite Ghostbusters movie is the one with the women or the cartoon. But I don't really care for the movies. So, and it's okay. We don't all have to like the same things. And I don't think you're a bad person if you like those movies. I just question your taste. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, it's just not my jam, and it's okay. There are a lot of people who really love. I liked Afterlife and Frozen Empire though. Those were fun. But the first 2 movies I just didn't care for as a kid. I did like the cartoon though.
I'll be intrigued to see how the new cartoon turns out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that as well. Like, I mean, 1984 for me, there were 2 cinematic things that happened in 1984 that were, well, 3, that were like my main jam in 1984 at the movies was Gremlins, Supergirl, and then what was the other thing? Oh, Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, which is the first Friday the 13th I got to go see at the theater. My uncle took me. And so Ghostbusters, and I think that's part of it, was just like Ghostbusters was like, I don't know, like I liked Gremlins better. I thought it was more my humor than Ghostbusters is. So, I mean, even in 1984, my humor was very specific. I also didn't like Temple of Doom, but I only like the one Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I really like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but the rest of them I don't care for. I don't know, just very particular. And I know someone's going to be, but you like the Supergirl movie? Yep, I do, Carl. The 1984 Supergirl movie is by no stretch of the imagination like a great movie, but it's a fun movie. I have fun watching it. My most exciting part of watching Ghostbusters as an adult is trying to pick out Debbie Gibson as the birthday girl at the party. Da-da-da. Ba-da-ba.
It's true. Jay does love Ghostbusters.
Loves Ghostbusters. And that's what is, that's what's interesting about doing research for Toy Geeks is like, there's stuff Jay loves that I'm just like, really? But then Jay was born, I think, in '85, so
Is he that young? I thought he was
I
a
think he
little bit
was.
older.
I think he said last week he was born in '85. Maybe not. Maybe he's '84. Yeah, cough syrup. Oh, I can't tell that story without. Um, I have a former family member. Yeah, that's how we'll go with it. A former family member who borrowed my car a few times, and when they would bring the car back, all these cough syrup bottles would roll out from under it. And I was asking my mom about it, and she was like, "Oh, well, that's how so and so drinks." I'm like, "I thought they were in AA," and my mom was like, "They are, but that's how they drink." And so I cleared out like 7 or 8 cough syrup bottles from the car. And I'd let this person borrow the car a few times to run into town to pick up diapers and medication stuff. And then I let them borrow it again after I cleaned all the cough syrup bottles up. And when they brought the car back, 8 more rolled out. So this person was drinking like 8 bottles of cough syrup in a sitting. So
That's a lot of cough syrup.
that's a lot of cough syrup. That's how you kill your organs. I like Gremlins 2, but I like it in a different way than I like Gremlins 1. It's 2 different movies. Like one is full on parody, the other is not. So I mean, like the first one is sort of like a parody of things, like, but it's more satirical than the second one is just a parody of it. And as a movie, it's not like a good sequel, but it's a fun movie to watch. It was really fun in the theater, and especially in the part where the film breaks. I think it's Hulk Hogan that's in that. Huh. Anyway.
In 2? Yeah.
Yeah, and screams at the gremlins in the projection booth. But yeah, no, I liked Gremlins 2, but again, it's not I don't rewatch it like I watch Gremlins 1 every year for Christmas. It's my favorite Christmas movie. As I say all the time, everyone here is like, "Oh shit, she's about to tell the Gremlin story again." And when I worked at Blockbuster as a manager, I would work every Christmas because it was double time. And every year, invariably, all the new employees would end up, a couple old school people who wanted that double time, and the new employees who would be really mad because they couldn't comprehend of a world where they had to work on Christmas. It was in a town with a lot of rich little spoiled brats. And every year, one of them invariably would say, "Oh my God, doesn't it suck to work on Christmas?" And I would be like, "Oh, I don't celebrate Christmas." And they'd be like, "Oh, really? Why not?" And I would be like, "Well, there was this one Christmas." And then I would do the Phoebe Cates monologue from Gremlins. And one year I had one of the girls crying because she was so touched. And then everyone busted out laughing, and they put the scene in on the monitors behind her, and she got really mad. She quit right after that. Because we were mean. It's like, girl, you shouldn't have asked me why I don't celebrate Christmas. That's a personal question. And then I went home and had Christmas dinner with my parents and my brother and opened all of my presents. So, because I do celebrate Christmas. I was just fucking with her. Oh, damn, 3 in a day. There is some of it does have alcoholic content. I don't think we have codeine down here. I'm not sure if you're in Canada or Europe or what. Let me see.
I mean, codeine's typically only in prescription cough syrup.
Yeah, if it's over the counter. Let's see. Cough syrup, alcohol. I'm gonna look that up.
There's something in Robitussin though, because people love the Robotrip.
Yeah, it was like the Robitussin, I think, that she was drinking. No, I'm not. Come on, AI. I didn't even ask for AI.
I mean, MC Chris has a whole song about robo tripping. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's got. I don't think it actually has alcohol in it. I think it just reacts. It's like drinking for people. So, because it's got something, and if I can't even pronounce the name of that. So, but yeah, it was this person who wasn't my former sister-in-law. It was their way of drinking. So, and that's probably why they considered it not drinking, because it doesn't look like it's actual alcohol. Man, AI is just terrible. I'm gonna get somebody killed. Cough medicine abuse by teens. Oh, I can tell I'm on the wrong side of the internet because this one opens with cough syrups and lozenges often contain high fructose corn syrup.
oh no.
Right? Sorry you have a cold, but this high fructose corn syrup is gonna wreck your body. All right. All right, I'm done with mine. I'm gonna embiggen it really quick so everyone can see. There we go. Oh, let's see if we can get it to focus. Focus.
Nope, I don't like that.
There we go. Excellent. There we are. All done. We only have 9 minutes, so I don't have time to start anything. So, how are you doing, Chris?
Pretty good. Pretty
Oh wow,
good.
that's a great sky. I like how that turned out, Chris. Chris, you're turning into a regular artiste.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh yeah, no, you do well. All right. Well, I guess we could just sit here and talk for a few minutes. It's not like
Sure.
we have to rush away. We're both finished, but you know. Let's see. We talked a little bit about Supergirl movie.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot of the context of the movie, and not everyone has seen it, so it's fine that we didn't get down into the nitty-gritty of it. You know, it's fine. Everyone will be fine.
Yeah, I've
But yeah,
been throwing a
Oh,
lot
sorry.
of punches on threads in defense of Supergirl. Just
I
because
have.
I can't take it.
Yeah, I haven't. I've just been blocking those people. I've been blocking them. That's what I do on threads now. If somebody has a bad hot take on Supergirl or black people or anyone who's not a certain color of eggshell mayo, I just block them. Sometimes I will leave them an insulting comment. Let's see if I can. I dropped a banger. I think you liked it actually, Chris.
I'm sure I did.
I felt like it was a good one. Let me find it. Why? Because. Oh no, you didn't like it yet. But there was somebody complaining about something, and I'm not gonna read that one. It's rude. Oh, here it is. Yeah, no, we're not gonna go there. Not today.
I got blocked by someone after they replied with middle fingers because I asked them if it was really woke or if they had or if they could actually put together an opinion of their own. They didn't care for that.
They were definitely calling it woke, and it's like she's a girl. Like at this point, that's part of anytime you have a girl who's in a movie and she's not there to be a girlfriend, it's woke. So that's where we are. Which, hey, she's Supergirl. She obviously doesn't need a man. So she can open her own jar of mayonnaise. Anyway.
You know, I will disagree with you. I thought there was the right amount of Superman, just kind of there as that trying to connect with her, but you
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
she had
Well,
to make that journey on her own.
we're allowed to disagree, Chris.
Oh yeah,
We don't all have to have the same opinion.
it's all right. As soon as the stream ends, I'm gonna get yelled at. So yeah.
Are you?
No, I'm
By
not.
who? Who's
It
gonna
was
yell
just
at
nobody.
I would never yell at you. Is it the voice in your head again, Chris, telling you
It
you're
is
not
the
good enough?
voice. Yeah.
Stop listening to that voice. That voice is a bitch. That voice puts raisins in its potato salad, Chris.
Why would you do that to potato salad?
I
Why?
don't know. Exactly. And you question that voice when it wants to put raisins in potato salad, but you don't question that voice when it tells you you're not good enough, Chris. Think about that.
It's true. It's true.
Talk about that with your therapist, okay?
This is.
All right, Chris. Where can the people find you on the internet?
I can be found at SPP Toys online, pretty much anywhere. I did actually open something on my channel fairly recently.
I seem to recall watching that.
Yes, it was the new Mattel Robin cycle in their Kids Core line.
And I'm going to say for anyone wondering that Kids Core line so far is pretty rad. I only have so far because it's the only one that came in because I ordered it through Big Bad Toy Store, but this Flash is amazing.
I've got the other Robin, the mainline Robin, and the last Spin Master Robin that I was going to open in the same video to do like a true side by side.
Side by side. Oh, look at you toy tubing. Chris is toy tubing it up. I did drop the link to Chris's channel in the chat, so please go check it out if you haven't. Subscribe. Chris is at 507 subscribers, so let's get him to 510. Because
I need to make content so people watch it, and I could then monetize.
Yeah, no. But I'm sure of the people watching right now, at least 3 of them have it. So yeah. And let's see, tomorrow here on this channel. Let's see. I know I've got content. I always have content. Let's see, scheduled. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. Tomorrow is July 6th. Okay, 1985 Goonies Vintage Coloring Book. They did 2. I've done 1 flip through on the channel. Tomorrow is the 2nd flip through. Shorts wise, we've got a Stinkor short, Stondar short, and a He-Man and She-Ra short. Friday Color and Chill is Jabba the Hutt from Return of the Jedi. For the people who like the ephemera stuff, 1980 Strawberry Shortcake paper doll book and a toy book, which is just basically paper dolls but with play sets. There will be flip throughs on those on Saturday, and the next Sunday I'll be here with James, aka Mint with Card, coloring Jabberjaw from the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Excellent. Def Toys just subbed. So there you are.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then, oh my gosh, Alex, you have to go to the movies more. I know it's expensive, and we just tried to talk you out of it earlier in the stream, but you should go to the movies at least twice a year. Thank you for being here, Mint with Card. Definitely, we will see you next week in person, even. All right, so we're going to wrap it up, and on that, and we are going to leave you with the burning question I've had since 1984. Take it away, Phoebe Cates.
I haven't made up my mind yet. Incidentally, I haven't made up my mind yet. Incidentally, which one of you bitches is my mother?